Welcome to Redditenderbender. We give Reddit stories their deserving endings because we hate being left hanging. I, female 33, confessed I'm in love with my best friend, male 29, but he has a wife, female 29. They've been married longer than I've known him, which is 8 years. Now both have withdrawn, are barely speaking to me. I don't want to lose him. How do I fix this? Advice really needed. This has been a huge mess, so I'm gonna try my very best to keep it simple. I will be Anna. My best friend can be Clark. His wife can be Shay. I met Clark through a mutual friend that has since passed away. We became friends quickly, and I learned pretty much right away that he was married. But I didn't meet Shay until I'd been friends with Clark nearly 2 years. Shay used to work insane long hours and had really no time to socialize. But when I did get to meet Shay, she was lovely, and we got along well. It took us longer to get close than it did Clark, but we got there. Fast forward to now, they are two of my very best friends. I don't say that lightly. I want you to understand, what led up to this post has left a massive gaping hole in my life. These were my people. We'd been saying for years now that we thought of each other as family more than friends. And I tried so hard to mean that. But in hindsight, I think I was already falling in love with him in the time before I met Shay. Clark is truly one of a kind, the best man and best person I've ever met. But Shay is his world. They've been together for over a decade, and there isn't a doubt in my mind that he loves her more than anything. And I know she loves him. I know they're monogamous. But my feelings were getting harder and harder to hold in. I haven't found any permanent relationship since I've met him, and several exes have been jealous of my friendship with him, even though Clark has never put a toe out of line. I don't know why I finally did it. I'd been hiding it for a long time and was gonna just keep it quiet forever. But it was getting harder and harder to be close to him, the way I was feeling, and recently I just snapped and told him. In a rush, we had been hanging out, alone. I didn't plan it. He just saw I was off and asked what was wrong, and I caved. I don't know what I was expecting to happen, but what did was that Clark freaked out, left right away, and went home to Shay. She texted me telling me she was hurt and felt disrespected, and to please give her space. Clark and I were co-workers, but he ended a contract early within that week and got a different job. That stung. Now our talking has been reduced to the occasional text and a couple back and forth emails between me and them as a pair. They're hurt and upset and feel lied to, which is true. I did lie about my feelings several times to people around us and led Clark and Shay to believe I had no feelings for him beyond platonic love. Here's where I need advice. I have a lot of mixed feelings about all this. In the last email, they said that they were open to staying friends if we could work through this thing together, but that there would have to be new changes and boundaries and that we'd have to have some real talks. I'm okay with talking, but to be totally honest, I don't want things to change. Especially between Clark and I have to admit, while I do love Shay, it's not like how much I love Clark. And I don't know if Shay and I would be friends without him. We are very different women. This is going to sound terrible, but I feel like I can't lose him. My life has fallen apart since they withdrew. I've quite literally had one of the very worst years of my entire life, with several deaths in the family, unemployment, and more. I feel like I need my support more than ever, and it's gone. I love him so much that I can't imagine life without him. It feels empty at the thought. I'm guilty that I hurt him and broke his trust, and he obviously doesn't feel the same for me. In fact, he told me in tears that he never would. I love him so much, I was having to remind myself every day that he was with Shay before I broke down and confessed, and I just don't know how to move on without him, especially at my weakest, like I am now. What do I do? Honestly, what would you do? Give them some time and space? Therapy? Should I try to accept just friendship? I have no clue and need advice. Just please be kind. Remember the human on the other side of the screen. I know it's a crazy situation, but I have to be honest. We'll pick up the story at the point where OP confessed her feelings for her married friend and made things awkward. I tried to give them space, but it was hard being away from them. Eventually, we met up to talk about it. They told me that my confession had hurt them and that they needed some time to process things. They also said that we could still be friends, but the relationship would be different. I accepted their terms, but it was hard. We tried to be friends, but it was never the same. The old closeness was gone, and there was always a sense of awkwardness between us. Over time, we drifted apart. We still talked sometimes, but it was less and less often. The pain of my unrequited love and the fallout from my confession had created a chasm that couldn't be bridged. I've tried to move on with my life, but I'll never forget what happened. I'm still sad about the loss of my friendship with Clark and Shay. It's a reminder that sometimes the choices we make in the pursuit of our own desires can have a negative impact on the people we care about. The following is another set of events that could have happened following OP's confession of love. I made a mistake, and it cost me everything. I told Clark how I felt about him, and it blew up in my face. Our friendship was ruined, and his relationship with Shay was damaged too. I tried to make things right, but it was too late. The damage was done. I stepped away from their lives, but I couldn't escape the guilt. I knew that I was the one who had caused all this pain. I'm still struggling with the aftermath of my mistake. I'm lonely and regretful, and I don't know how to move on. I know that I can't change the past, but I'm trying to learn from my mistakes. I want to be a better person, and I hope that one day I can be forgiven. I know that my story isn't unique. Everyone makes mistakes, and sometimes the consequences are devastating. But I hope that my story can serve as a reminder that our choices matter. We should always think carefully before we act because the price of our mistakes can sometimes be very high. I'm still learning and growing, and I'm not sure what the future holds. But I know that I'm stronger than I was before, and I'm determined to make things right. I hope that one day I can be forgiven by Clark and Shay, and that I can rebuild my friendships with them. But even if that doesn't happen, I know that I'm not alone. There are other people who have made mistakes, and they've learned and grown from them. I'm not giving up. I'm going to keep trying to be a better person, and I'm going to keep moving forward. Under the circumstances OP described in her story, this was the best case scenario she could have. Let's hear how it plays out. I was devastated after Clark and Shay stopped talking to me. I felt like I had ruined everything, and I didn't know what to do. I spent a lot of time thinking about what had happened, and I realized that I needed to make some changes. I started going to therapy, and I worked on being more honest and open with my feelings. A few months later, I got a message from Clark. He said that he wanted to talk, and I was so nervous, but I also really wanted to see him. When we met up, we talked for a long time. We talked about what had happened, and we apologized for the pain we had caused each other. We also talked about our feelings, and we realized that we still cared about each other. It wasn't easy to rebuild our friendship, but we were both committed to making it work. We set some boundaries, and we talked about our expectations. It took time, but eventually we were able to get back to the way things were before. Our friendship is stronger than ever now. We're more honest and open with each other, and we know that we can always count on each other. I'm so grateful that we were able to find our way back to each other. I know that our story isn't the norm, but I hope it gives you hope. If you've made a mistake or if you've lost a friendship, it's not the end of the world. There's always the possibility for healing and forgiveness. So don't give up. Keep working on yourself and keep reaching out to the people you care about. You never know what might happen. What would you have done in OP's shoes? Which ending was the best? Please tell me in the comments below. I, 23 male, am dating a lesbian, 20 female, and need advice. This is a bit of an interesting situation. Let me start at the beginning. A couple months ago, I met this gorgeous woman and we had a lot in common. I was very interested, but unfortunately, she told me she's gay. Darn, but whatever. She's still a great person and fun to be around, so we stay friends. We hang out a couple times over about a month and a half when out of nowhere, she texts me and says, "Hey, remember how I told you I was gay? Apparently, you're the exception." This is rather confusing for me, but I still think this woman is amazing, so I decide to see where things go. We talk for a little bit and agree to take things slow. I'm aware this is a strange situation and it might not work out. I accept that and decide to try this out anyway. We then go out on a couple dates and have a great time. We both admit that we really like each other and want to see where this goes. But she also admits that she is nervous about advancing things sexually between us. She has had sex with guys before, but did not enjoy it. She is willing to experiment with me and see how it goes. That's where we are at today. So I guess what I need to know is, does anyone have advice for how to handle this situation? If she ends up trusting me enough to try and move forward sexually, then what can I do to help her? I know that there is a significant chance that she is just not sexually attracted to guys, and I've accepted that. If she decides that it's not what she wants, no hard feelings. But if it's not that she is gay, and instead just hasn't found the right guy, what can I do to help her feel more comfortable with that side of our relationship? What are some pitfalls men fall into that I should avoid? If I need to elaborate on anything, please let me know. In this first ending, we explore what could have happened in this relationship. She was hesitant at first, but she eventually let her guard down. We explored new emotional depths together, and our physical relationship progressed slowly but surely. I admired her strength and her willingness to challenge herself. One night, we sat under the stars and she told me I'd changed her world. I felt like I was flying, but then things started to change. The cracks that had always been there started to widen. She became distant, and the warmth between us started to fade. One day, she asked to meet me in the park. She told me she couldn't ignore who she was. She was gay, and she couldn't change that. I was heartbroken. We held each other and cried, and then we said goodbye. It's been hard to move on. I still think about her all the time, but I know that time will heal my wounds. And even though our story ended too soon, I'll always cherish the love we shared. It took a while, but the pain in my heart started to fade. I threw myself into my work, picked up old hobbies, and hung out with my friends. Slowly, the world started to look brighter, and I found joy even in the midst of my healing. One day, I was at my favorite coffee shop, reading a book, when I heard a familiar voice. I looked up and saw her standing there, looking nervous, but hopeful. My heart skipped a beat. "Hey," she said. "I hope it's okay that I came to see you." I was surprised, but I motioned for her to sit down. We started talking, and it was like no time had passed. We laughed and talked about everything that had been going on in our lives. After a while, she took a deep breath and told me she'd been doing a lot of soul searching. She said she'd realized that she'd been so caught up in labels and expectations that she'd lost sight of what really mattered. I was afraid to admit how I felt, even to myself, she said. But being without you made me understand that love isn't confined by definitions. It's about connection, about finding someone who makes your heart feel alive. I listened, captivated by her words. She seemed so different, so much more sure of herself. "I was wrong to let you go," she said. "I love you, and I don't want to be without you." I smiled, and tears welled up in my eyes. I'd been waiting for this moment for so long. "I love you too," I said. We leaned in and kissed, and it was like coming home. We kissed for a long time, And when we finally pulled away, we knew that we were meant to be together. We picked up where we left off, and our love was stronger than ever. We learned to let go of expectations and to embrace the beauty of connection. We cherished the love that had found its way back to us. Because we just can't help ourselves. Here's another version of what might have happened in OP's relationship. Over time, our relationship grew into more than I could have imagined. On our 1-year anniversary, we kissed, and I felt a weird tingling sensation, like electricity running through my veins. It was like the universe was conspiring to make our already crazy story even crazier. When we pulled away, we both felt it. A shift in the air, a distortion in reality. The world around us rippled like a pond after a rock has been thrown in it. We looked at each other, confused and surprised. "What just happened?" she asked. I looked around, trying to make sense of our surroundings. Everything seemed the same, but also slightly different. The cafe we were in had a surreal quality to it. The colors were more vivid, and the shapes were slightly distorted. "I don't know," I said, my heart racing. This was unlike anything I had ever experienced before. Before we could figure out what was going on, a figure appeared in front of us. They were wearing a strange combination of futuristic and ancient clothing, and they looked at us with amusement and curiosity. "Ah, love," the figure said in an amused voice. "You have created a bond so strong that it has resonated across dimensions." We looked at each other, completely baffled. "You see," the figure continued, "your connection defied expectations, leading to an anomaly in the fabric of reality. Your love was so unexpected, so potent, that it has opened a doorway between your world and another." We struggled to understand this otherworldly explanation. "Now you have a choice to make," the figure said. "You can return to your world and continue your lives, or you can explore the possibilities of this newly opened passage." I looked at my love, her eyes reflecting a mixture of excitement and uncertainty. Our relationship had already defied the odds. Could we resist the allure of a cosmic adventure? With a shared glance, we made our choice. "Let's explore," I said, my voice trembling with a mix of fear and excitement. As we reached out to grasp the figure's hand, the world around us shimmered and shifted. In an instant, we were transported to a realm beyond our wildest imagination. We spent the next few weeks exploring this strange dimension. We encountered challenges we never could have predicted, but our love always seemed to guide us through each trial. As time lost meaning in this surreal realm, our connection deepened further. We faced the bizarre and the extraordinary together, forging a love that was as boundless as the dimensions we traversed. So that's my story, one that takes an unexpected turn into the realm of the bizarre and fantastical. Love, it seems, can be a force powerful enough to tear through the very fabric of reality, leading to adventures beyond the scope of human imagination. As we continue to explore this strange dimension, our hearts beat as one, forever intertwined in a tale that is, quite literally, out of this world. What would you have done in OP's shoes? Which ending was the best? Tell me in the comments below. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because you won't want to miss a single captivating story. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.